So today, we got a super fun max life stacking combo. Thornbloom, which grants us max life whenever we gain in power, and a skill false life, which boosts all our items max life gains by an extra 25%. But hey, can this awesome combo carries all the way to round 18? Let's find out. Okay, let's go into some ranked games with a random character and see what we're going to get today. So it looks like we're playing the Ranger. We do start off with a frying pan and a little shard ball. So you know what? I'm going to start off by grabbing ourselves this broom. Grabbing this broom, crafting up a shovel. I do want to grab this broom, this shard ball, healing herbs, and I do want to roll. And I'm kind of looking for a food item specifically, like a banana would be awesome here if only we could see one. And awesome. I'm also going to take the stone and I'm going to be crafting up a shovel and we're going to be using 2 shard balls. But for now, this should be a pretty decent round 1. Maybe. Since we're going to begin a pyromancer with inanimate wilds, we could be in a rough spot here. Now they after dealing massive damage, since they do have some power on this, it's going to be doing a little bit more damage than our frying pan. But hey, not too bad. We still managed to pull ahead. We got a shovel. I'm going to be grabbing this bit of storage here. And I do want to craft up a little tusk poker. Let's grab a stone. I'm going to move on and I'm potentially going to go for a big spike stacking type build, potentially. Hopefully, we'll see. With a shovel, we should be able to get a ton of value. Digging up some stones is exactly what I want, more than anything. Also, having a chance to flick some blind as well. So, can we keep up with the shields? Our little shard bow shouldn't be able to trigger it, but our shovel does, but it's really, really slow, so it's going to be pretty good for us. And you know what? Double little shard bows, shovel, not looking too bad. And our opponent didn't have a whole lot of damage. They did have an amulet. Wait, kind of awesome. Okay, hear me out. That is the flute. We take the flute. We grab the unstable recombobulator. And we just recombobulate the flute. Simple as that. And that is quite literally going to be this round. Which is going to be kind of mad. We did lose a little bit of damage by not having our little shard bow in, but we should have got a little bit of heals with our flawed ruby. Now I did place it on our little tusk poker. It's going to be a little less lifesteal than our shovel, but it does attack a little bit faster, so kind of lean towards it. Now with flutes, as long as we stack up luck, we do stack up our accuracy as well and our crit chance, which is not terribly bad here. We could have kept it, but can we actually keep up? We've got a lot of spikes, but so does our opponents. But that actual flute putting in a lot of work for us. Hey, what crazy item are we going to get? Something awesome. Okay, Goobert and an Amethyst Feasting. Now, if you had a hero sword, I would definitely go for Slime Time. We could still go Slime Time, go Big Bowl of Treats. With Amethyst Feasting, it could be kind of nice as well. You know, I think we're going to take it, since we already have Goobert here. That is Artifact Stone down, which I don't really want here. What I do want is this broom, actually. This little goobling, and I want to roll, and I want this storage as well. But I also want this water tusk. But I'm not going to be crafting up another little tusk poker here. It will be kind of awesome, but yeah, we're not going to be crafting up. I'm actually going to sell these 2 gemstones so we can grab this storage. And yeah, I'm going to have her set up like this for now. We're going to have Slime Time targeting our Gooberts, and we're going to have our Amethyst Feasting here. Now, we kind of want to go for a different type Goobert, maybe like a chili Goobert. Could go for cheese Goobert, like Gooberts, even a blood Goobert. We'll see. But the overall plan is probably still going to be CARROT GOOBERT. CARROT GOOBERT for a crazy absurd amount of empower and also removing a lot of cold. Now our opponent does have Nourish Please with the Shepherd's Crook, which means our blind stacking is not going to be that great. But it does allow us to stack up our spikes with our little tusk poker, which is really, really, really nice for us. Even though our opponent only has 1 weapon, but still. Keeping ourselves alive with good old Goobert as well. Now, speaking of crazy, that is a holy armor, which I'm not going to be taking. I'm going to be rolling. Could go for Claw's attack. I was hoping to find ourselves a mana orb and potentially go for crit with staff as well. I'm going to grab this fanny pack. I'm going to roll. We do get a carrot, which is extremely awesome. And I kind of want to grab ourselves this Walrus Tusk as well. But yeah, we're going to be rocking on with this once again. Now I did place our Slime Time inside our fanny pack, so it triggers a little bit faster. It's going to be targeting where you're goobling along with a chipped amethyst. So when these both trigger, we should be able to trigger this, which is going to be a nice little activator for Goobert. For sure. We can get those gooblings traveling pretty fast, give us a ton of heals, but is it going to be enough to keep us alive here? Because that magic staff is going to have a crazy amount of scaling with that mana generation. And especially since they're rocking ranged weapons, spikes doesn't do nothing for us. So unfortunately, this opponent looks like they're going to counter us here. For sure. Super unfortunate, it is what it is. We're still rocking a freaking shovel. Let's grab our carrot. Let's grab these blueberries on sale. Let's keep grabbing all food items on sale. We could go for poison gooberts if we want to. Now, being way too greedy with our items here, because I do want to grab some storage. But I also want the Walrus Tusk to potentially go for 2 Tusk Pokers as well. So I'm still going to take it, but I'm going to roll. I'm going to have to sell this gemstone to continue roll. And we really, really need the storage. Now that is also Turnip. We could try to go for Thornbloom as well. Now I really want to keep our broom because I did want to go for crit with staff. So I'm thinking about actually selling our shovel here. Downgrading for now. I'm going to. So we can grab the storage. And I'm going to place our carrot in up top over here. And our food items are not going to be touching it, unfortunately. Now we do got 2 gold left. We could grab this help up, but I'm going to take this trying to look for another carrot. Now do we want another set of blueberries? You know, I'm going to reserve it. I'm still going to take the turnip though, but I'm going to move on. Now, Rabbit Feasting actually is in a criminal spot here. I should have placed it over here. Yeah, that's my mistake. Moving a little bit too fast. We could have had a higher value carrot here with a garlic and a set of blueberries, because garlic going to begin vampirism is really, really nice. Removing the vampirism from our opponents. But can't actually keep up again this Reaper. Rocking a Shell Totem with blood manipulation. They're stacking up a lot of power, so this shovel is going to start dealing some big, big damage. And we did downgrade to a broom. But hey, as long as we keep stacking up our blinds, our opponent can't hit us. If they can't hit us, our broom should increase in DPS as well. But that shovel again, yeah, it's just doing way too much damage. Okay, so let's grab a turnip. So I did kind of want to wait for crit with staff. Crit with staff, but we're not getting our mana orbs. We do have a turnip. We should probably lean into that. We do need this pineapple really, really badly though. So we're going to sell the broom here, unfortunately. And I'm thinking about selling one of these little short bows. Let's grab it. That's a lot of food items. That's a second pineapple. Hell yeah. I'm actually going to let go of the blueberries for now. And I did place our little goobling here instead of having increased speed. Maybe that might be a little bit worse, but I do want our goobling to be going super fast, give us a bunch of heals, and I'm going to be holding on to all these items for now. Crazy absurdness in our backpack, but our turnip should be able to scale up a lot of spikes with this pineapple and the Amethyst Feasting here. Every 2 seconds we're going to get spikes, we're going to get heals. Goblins should be able to keep us alive as well. So we should be in a pretty good spot here. Purple stacking their spikes like there's no tomorrow. Our opponent does have Phoenix, they are going to resurrect with actually quite a bit of life here. But they do lose all their heats, losing all their speed, and not too bad. Now we do have a choice to make, and honestly from here, the best choice we can make is taking Slime Time Big Bowl of Treats. It's just too good not to take. Now let's take this. We can go for super fast heat gooberts. I'm going to take the banana first of all to see what it is, because it could be a cheese goobert. But I actually really want the chili goobert, so I'm going to sell this. I'm going to sell the short bowl. Let's go ahead and grab it. It does give us another chili, which I do want to grab as well. So we could go for super fast heat stacking, spike stacking, craziness type build. Potentially. I do want to grab the squirrel though. And I'm going to move on with this setup until we craft up our chili goobert. Okay. So chili gooberts with the big bowl of treats is going to be actually quite interesting. Now our chili gooberts or our pineapples should be able to go super fast with a big bowl of treats. Yeah, every 1 second we should be able to stack up spikes. And once we start in more, we can go turbo nuts on spike generation. Potentially. This is going to be like a flame up without the flame up. And we'll see. That's some big damage coming from our turnip. Crazy absurd amount of spikes per punt. He's looking quite scary here. They have stacked up a lot of buffs. But can we actually still outpace him? Holy moly, that turnip dealt so much damage. It was kind of nuts. And speaking of kind of nuts, that is Rogue Potion. Let's grab our 7 stack. Let's craft up a Thornbloom. And I think for now, we're going spike stacking. Yeah, we're going to move on with this. That should be insane. Now, we could have also went for Excalibur there. Heat stacking Excalibur with big ball of trees could have been awesome too, but I did want to go for a Thornbloom. I tried to stack up an insane amount of max life along with heat. Now, actually, this puns is looking pretty rough for us. We are bringing it back though slightly, and that was just crazy. at 46%. 46%. 46 crit. Was kind of nuts. Now, we also got False Life with Thornbloom. Yeah, we have to grab it. Just a crazy absurd amount of max life stacking. Let's grab this carrot. It does give us a cheese as well. Okay, we're getting all food items I do want to grab. As for the squirrel, we're going to say goodbye to you. Let's grab a chili. This gives us another pineapple, which I do also want to grab here. So I'm not going to take the walrus tusks anymore. But I'm going to have to leave the pineapple behind for now, unfortunately. Because I do want to roll, looking for some storage, which we did actually find. I'm going to sell 2 stones here, unfortunately, so we can grab this as well. And here's the thing. We're going for a carrot goobert as well. We quite literally have to here. We could also try to go for cheese goobert instead. But I'm going to prefer grabbing the carrot goobert because it is going to remove some debuffs as well. Our opponent also has false life. They're looking like they're going for a similar setup, to be honest. But they don't have their turnip just yet. They have their little short bows. But we'll see. Can we turbo stack our max life like there's no tomorrow? And make it go super fast as well. Now, we might not actually need a second Thornbloom here. Since we're going to be generating so much heat, so much spikes, that we won't be able to keep up with the stamina anyway. But the reason to have the second Thornbloom in is to basically get even more max life stacking. But this is actually looking genuinely insane. 770 max life, 150 crit. And awesome. We got a gooberts. Let's go to goobert. We could go for cheese goobert and carrot goobert. Should we try to go for triple goobert type setup? Honestly, I don't want it right now, so I'm not going to. That's that bowl. Unfortunately, we're not going to be taking it anymore. Let's take our funny pack. Let's roll again. We could go for light goobert, which I don't actually want to. I will, however, gladly grab this bit of storage. I'm going to keep rolling. I'll be back in a second while I sort our inventory once again. Okay, so we did move our set rounds, and I'm thinking this is going to be looking pretty good. With our big bowl of treats being in the center, we do want to target our food items. We do want our food items to be targeting on our gooberts because they're going to be super fast activators, rather than our big bowl of treats. Our Thornbloom is still going to be up here, trying to make us go as fast as possible, but it's going to have to be this way. Now, the Amethyst Feasting is going to be a little harder to actually stack up here. I'd love to get our cheese. So I'd actually love it in this position specifically. Maybe actually here. But it's going to have to for now. I will reserve the set of blueberries. I'm going to move on. Let's craft up a carrot goober so we start stacking up our power like crazy as well. While also removing a bunch of debuffs. We'll get our heal from our goobert, get our heat from our goobert as well. But it's going to be some big old hammer, dagger, massive damage. We did get a big old burst heal though. Let's keep us alive here. So we got tons of heals, tons of max life stacking. And you know what? Amazing. Genuinely amazing. We got a carrot goobert online. Let's grab a set of blueberries. It does give us another cheese. And another chili, which I do want to grab as well. However, I'm going to sell this so we can grab ourselves this stamina sack for now as well. But it's going to have to do for now. I'm going to grab this little goobling. We're going to have a chili. No, actually, before we do move on, do we want to grab ourselves a rupee egg here? For a dragon to make use of this in power. You know what? I'm thinking about doing it. It's going to be a pet as well. So it is going to be high value. But I'm feasting, still going to be sitting here missing out on this cheese, which is less than ideal. But with 2 cheeses, some chilies, carrot goobert, we should be able to turbo stack our max life like there's no tomorrow. So can this double axe actually outscale our max life stacking? And you know what? It's actually doing a good job. It's got lots of damage, lots of crits. But it's looking pretty good for still. And awesome. We're actually doing massive crits compared to them. And we don't even have an acorn collar, by the way. Just a ranger bag, putting in a lot of work with how much luck we're stacking up. But anyways, we do end up with about a 40 DPS, which is not crazy good by any means, but it's not too bad for this point of the game. As for heals, 20 healing per second is not that great either, with 30 max health. So, we actually really want another Thornbloom in. Our stamina consumption is going to be a bit rough. We're going to have to compensate for that, but a second Thornbloom will double our max health gain. Are we still going to take the dragon egg then? I still kind of want to. But I'm going to sell this so we can grab this chili as well. Actually, let's just grab the little goobling here. But the dragon egg does need to go in, so I'm contemplating placing it in instead of our big old banana. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to move on with this for now. And we could be grabbing those hedgehogs because we're stacking up a lot of spikes. They're going to be dealing a lot of damage. Yeah, that's a way we could have actually increased our DPS quite significantly. Because we actually turbo stack spikes like there's no tomorrow. It will be kind of insane. Now we are going to get again a hammer dagger type builds. We stack up our max life, and those spikes are going to be dealing some big damage, and our turnip is starting to deal insane damage as well. And you know what? Not too bad. Big old Thornbloom putting in a lot of work. Okay, I think we hit the jackpot. Quite literally. We could also lamp as well, by the way. Yeah, we could literally lamp as well. Since we're stacking up so much spikes, so much mana, it's going to be nuts. However, we really want this. I'm going to grab a chili pepper. It does give us another cheese, which I would love to take. But I'm actually thinking of going to roll here, even though we do have this in our inventory. As mad as that is, I do want this acorn collar. So I actually moved our setup around just a little bit. We're going to have our artifacts on heat for Thornbloom. We're going to have our crit chance up here so we don't have to scale up our luck as hard. And we're going to have our ambush feasting in a more ideal spot. Now we're not making use of this fanny pack whatsoever. Now we could also switch this down here, and you know what? That would actually be a lot more clever, because then we can move our ambush feasting into a more ideal spot. And you know what? This is actually a hell of a lot better. Now instead of regen, I might actually place in our Starved Courage just for a little bit of stamina down on our Thornbloom. And you know what? I'm going to move on with this. We're going to be grabbing our lamp next rounds, and we're going to see what we can do with that as well. We should be able to stack our heat insanely fast. Thornbloom should be able to deal big damage right now, and our crits should be going pretty tough as well. I say crits, we've one luck here. But hey, definitely looking pretty smashing. And we could actually grab a squirrel archer to increase our damage again. But are we going to try lamp here? We can get so much damage here. I'm going to grab the lamp. Let's grab this. Are we going to really forget about the squirrel archer? I think we actually are. And I really, really need this storage. I was holding on to this to try and craft up a rat chef to also help with our stamina. Especially since we're going to be going super fast. So I think I'm going to sell 2 goblins here, even though I'd love to keep them. Yeah, because I do want to keep our options open to craft up a rat chef. Now we do want to grab the storage. And be back in a second while I sort our inventory once again. Now, you know what? I might actually take this mana orb. Should we actually take it? Is it crazy to take this? Because we could take it to generate up more mana so we can actually have our blueberry stack up our luck as well. Or should we just leave it? Now, I actually want to lamp the dragon here, because with the dragon, it's not going to use up stamina. And if we're going super fast, that should be pretty good for us. I did place our fanny pack up here with a ruby whelp, because I do want to lamp a ruby whelp. Since it's going to be using no stamina, it's also going to have a 20% chance to activate again with a big bowl of treats. And especially since we start off with 4 heat with our artifacts on heat as well, I genuinely think this is going to be even better than trying to lamp or Thornbloom, since it's going to cost stamina as well. But yeah, we're going to move on with this setup for now. We should be able to get a ton of damage on this ruby whelp, unless we face someone who removes buffs. If we face someone who removes buffs, we could be in trouble here. Like this freaking Reaper with that katana. But we're stacking up buffs like there's no tomorrow. Tons of max life. Can we actually outpace them? They have an absurd amount of heat though, and that could be their saving grace. Quite literally, because they're going to get tons and tons of heals, and they're going to be inflicting tons and tons of fatigue. And it's going to be a super long fight. But again, buff removal, our worst matchup. I mean, this is a pretty darn good build. A katana, super fast katana, removing all the skilling damage that we did get. Even if we did lamp our ruby whelp, it's going to deal 0 damage. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Now, Whoopertinger for the price of 12. But unfortunately, I'm not going to. I'm going to start grabbing some hedgehogs. I do want some storage. Let's keep moving, and I will grab the storage. And should we try to go for a second Thornbloom, or is it a little bit too late for it? I think it's a little bit too late for it. I'm going to sell this 2 roll again. We do get a rat chef, which is amazing. I also want to grab this fanny pack. And yeah, I'm going to move bench on with this. Now the thing is, stacking up in power doesn't actually increase the damage of our hedgehog. Since we're going to be lamping our ruby whelp, it's going to get rid of some spikes as well. So we're sacrificing quite a bit to get this dragon lamped up. It's going to get rid of some of our crits as well. And we actually have no block generation, I just realized that. So we're not going to be able to lamp anyway. So unfortunately, we do end up falling short. Yeah, unfortunately, our block generation, we need something that generates block to get our Jin's lamp online. I'm going to take this fanny pack though. I'm going to grab more hedgehogs, because this is one way we can actually get some block. I do want to grab a rat, and I want to craft up a rat chef to help with our stamina and also empower gains. And I think unfortunately for now I'm going to rock on once again. And we are bleeding a lot of lives right now, which is a little less than ideal. But I'm hoping that we can stack up for us before our opponent does smash us down a good bit, so we can actually lamp our dragon. Although I say that and they're dealing some big damage, we should be able to get some block. Potentially. And unfortunately we are bleeding just a crazy absurd amount of lives. So it's looking like we should have took our points and ran. I'm going to roll here. Let's grab the storage, let's grab this fanny bag. I'm actually going to grab the mana orb since it is on sale. I'm going to roll again. Now I think we actually got blessed a little bit by grabbing this flip. It's going to have the potential to actually help us stack up our luck as well as a little bit of block. So I think we finally managed to get our build sorted here. We did sacrifice quite a lot of lives to get this online, and maybe taking a lamp was not the greatest play here. Now so Rat Chef, I actually want to place it in here since it is going to get a little bit more value. But yeah, this is going to be the final build, and it actually turned out to be a lot of fun even though we did lose a good bit of lives here. But I still think this is going to be pretty darn good. A Slime Time, Chili Goobert into Carrot Goobert with a big ball of treats with one singular Thornbloom. Grabbing a second one here would have been nuts, but let's roll once. And we could have taken more pineapples as well. Let's roll again. And actually taking a prismatic orb would have been nice as well. But hey, this is it. Can we win out? Let's find out. Okay. We are going to begin a double axe with some reduced healing. A crazy absurd amount of helmets here. And they're going to resist some poison. But we'll see, because they do have enchanted weapons on that double axe. They're going to be attacking through armor as well. So we could actually be in trouble here. So if we don't stack armor, we do stack max life, so we do counter them a little bit since we're not going to be healing as much or stack and block, even though we do have a bit of block. But them attacking through a block is actually pretty good here because the Root Bulb is starting to deal some big damage. And you know what? It's actually looking super close because they do have a lot of damage reduction during Battle Rage. They got some lifesteal during Battle Rage as well. And holy moly's come down to where. And amazing. We just barely scraped out. Yeah, definitely barely scraped out. Now we ended up with a 77 DPS even though our opponent had so much damage reduction. Being the Dragon Skill Armor and the first literal 5 seconds of the fight, we do 75% less damage. Now as for heals, we did end up with 7 healing per second because our opponent did have so much healing reduction. And 40 max life gained per second. If you had another Thornbloom, this would have been doubled. Well, almost. This would have been doubled. We did manage to get about 80 block, which is awesome. And we did actually manage to lamp our dragon, allowing us to deal some big damage. But anyways, we did survive 2 lives left. Let's go and see just how much rank points we managed to get. +9, ranking us almost back up to Masters once again. But anyways, I'm going to leave you here for now. Just want to say thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, or even consider subscribing. And hope to keep a look out for the next one. I'll see you next time. Okay, we're going to see, can we deal with some round 18 builds? Can we actually make our Thornbloom work here? Now we are going to begin a debuff stacking builds with some vulnerability. So can we actually get this online? Because they have a ton of block. With their moon armor, with their holy armor. But that's a big damage and crazy damage there towards the end. Now can we deal, again, a Staff of Fire Dark Lantern? Now the thing about spike stacking is, we have no Amulet Wiles, so this ranged weapon is going to deal... Spikes are not going to do any damage towards your opponent. And especially with time melting, they're going to have a longer time with damage reduction, longer time in invulnerability, giving them a crazy absurd amount of time to stack up enchanted weapons, and that's some massive damage. Anyway, can we deal with another Thornbloom except they're rocking Poison Ivy? With an absurd amount of food items. Some potions as well, Aments of Alchemy, which is going to be kind of nuts because they do have a lot of poison on us. We're going to be dealing a lot of damage to ourselves off their spikes. Well, that's some big damage and amazing. However, can we take on a 100% crit chance? Busted Blade with a lot of damage reduction with Amethyst Steel as they get their power as well. That's going to be some big damage. Now, can we outscale it with our max life though? Potentially. And that Busted Blade is going to be going turbo nuts. And not too bad.